Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we are with Omega Gaming Lunar versus the Death Striders here, and we have got a wonderful game for you. We're in the Focus. No, Risen Pre-Made Unstoppable. I'm sorry, and these aren't we're Demon Slayers. Risen Pre-Made Unstoppable. This is week number 4. Omega Gaming Lunar taking on Demon Slayers. Apologies for the slightly scuffed intro. I am Rudude1, your producer, your colour caster for this evening, and I will be joined very shortly by Diatropa. He's just getting himself some water. I realised I was on the wrong scene and I thought I'd just introduce us, especially given we're in the pro draft anyway. But with all that being said and done, the Demon Slayer is going to be taking the blue side here to start off with. Omega Gaming Luna on the red side. See some interesting bans coming out already from Demon Slayers here. We've got the Evelyn ban away. Now, important to remember, Evelyn received a few light touches in 1016, the majority of which saw her sort of increase in popularity. Seen a little bit of buffs here. It was sort of decreased her Q cooldown flat so that it makes, well, I guess, Lane Evelyn a little bit stronger, but also the main cause is that she's able to throw these hate spikes out a lot more in ganks, in engages like that. The cooldown has essentially been halved for that, so when we get to, seeing the Evelyn come through, that's going to be, or if we do get to see the Evelyn come through, that's going to be great, that's going to be wonderful and something that we'd love to see, but not going to happen this game. Ezreal, Lulu, Senna, the bans for Omega Gaming Luna as well on the red side. Looks like the Demon Slayers are going to pick themselves up the Syndra for their first pick on this blue side here. A very strong first pick in the mid lane. Definitely worth going for themselves. A strong mid lane pick for sure. And Omega Gaming Luna answering with a quick flex pick of the Echo and also the Ashdown on the bot side of the map here. Likely to be piloted by Humanity. And we'll have to see what build he goes for here for this game number 1. Definite potential for Manamune, Blade of the Ruin King as well. 2 very viable options. We'll have to see which one he does indeed opt for. They're, both going to be very viable builds. I apologise for any stuttering or any audio through my mic that you can hear, just because it's a little bit windy around here, and I could quite easily close my window. But hey, where is the fun in that? There we go. Just had a slight technical issue because my co-caster didn't have the pro draft, so that's entirely on me.
All
Hopefully
right, now I have the pro draft, and
There
I
we
am
go.
here.
Welcome,
There we go.
welcome.
Thank you. I've been listening to your sultry tones just narrate over what we're seeing already, and I wanna jump in and see what we have already myself. Now that we're gonna get the Karma lock in for DS here, which should give them a really nice strong bot lane. OGL have the potential to sort of build out their bot lane as well, but I really like the Karma pickup for DS because we've seen a lot of caster supports out of this player. And certainly has proven that he can sort of carry through the lane on this style of champion.
Yeah, and interesting that they don't go for the Caitlyn Morgana bot lane, maybe just feeling that the Karma provides a little bit more holistically than just being an insane lane bully, that Karma definitely is as well. I feel like Karma scales much better into the late game, does provide a lot more for the team than that Morgana will do in a late game situation, and when you pick Caitlyn and Karma bot lane, you pretty much win the lane hands out just with your 2 picks, so the Morgana not too needed. Karma is a great pick as well, just as a support as well. Definitely worth picking
Yeah,
up the Bard being responded here for Luna as well.
and I know that you and I had talked about the Bard a little bit earlier as being one of those picks that OGL can really play super well on. Scarred Rabble has done a lot of Bard in his solo queue games alone, with Bard and Gragas being his most commonly played. Not exactly the normal stuff that you'll see for a support player, Bard being one of the edgier styles here. But certainly having a lot of prowess on that champion can bring you edges in unexpected areas of the map.
Yeah, exactly. Bard is one of the more eccentric supports, I think is the easiest way of putting it. And when I look at Rabble play, you look at his champ pool over this Risen series so far. He's not played particularly standard supports, There's been there's been Bards, there's been Gragas, there's been Poppy. Rabble definitely known for his sort of weirder counter-oriented matchups, but versus this Karma, maybe feeling that the Bard is just the best option. As looks like that red side ban is gonna be the Zac as well, just for all of you guys at home. That is a Zac ban as the fifth ban here for Luna.
Yeah, and I see the Gangplank pick up there for OGL as well. And when I look at when I look at OGL's draft right now, and I look at the prep that we do on these players, they've gotten almost exclusively comfort picks. All of the champions that we see, with the exception of the Ashe, are in their top most played, like top two most played even. And so I feel like OGL are certainly playing this one a little bit safe. Are going to have a lot of ability to be, what's that called, enabled by the Ashe, but on things like Bard, Echo, and Gangplank can certainly look to take control here. And I really like that they're holding this Echo, saying this could be mid, this could be jungle. Although I expect it to be jungle, it leaves them open.
Yeah, it does open up the flex pick, and if they decide that they want to send the Syndra or the Echo into the Syndra, which is a favourable matchup for the Echo, then they have that option to do so. Maybe now they've seen the jungle pick of the Nunu, they go for something favourable into it. And that hover, I'm not going to talk about it too much because hovers can bait you, but
Hmm.
they have the option. With it locked in, however, the Jarvan does suggest the Echo flex here. Um, Short of a spicy AD Jarvan mid lane, I expect to see the Jarvan slot into the jungle. The Echo going to roll its way into the mid lane versus that Syndra, as I mentioned, the favourable matchup in the mid lane for Luna here. And yeah, so overall, it looks like OGL not really lacking any engage at all. Um, their engage is very easy, very straightforward. They just Ash ult, Bard ult, Gangplank's flag drag, go on in. And then again on the side of for DS here, they have a very similar story. That if they just want to go in, it's not that difficult. They send Nunu in, they send the Ornn in, Mantra Inspire, they get it going, and there's a lot of options for everything. Both teams to get themselves in and around a fight.
Yeah, Demon Slayers also having a lot of go buttons of their own mean that, especially when we hit things like that level 6 mark, I expect there to be a lot of action potentially around the map. The nice thing is that Gangplank, while he can sort of press that global go button, can also be doing other things elsewhere. And with something like the Bard pick, that could be really nice for them to sort of apply this map wide pressure of engage, as opposed to Demon Slayers who really need to know exactly where you are. OGL can sort of deny them that ability.
Yeah, exactly. The vision game as well as that is going to be really strong, or needs to be really strong rather to deny that potential. And I wanna quickly just sort of touch on this top side of the map because Gangplank as well is a really I was really happy to see the Gangplank blind pick come out because at the minute it's a super strong top laner and a new-ish sort of build. I don't want to quote new too much because you still go Trinity Force, you still go with the Essence Reaver, but I've seen a lot of Gangplanks rushing for that Liandry's as a third item, and whilst
Mhm.
LS fans out there everywhere are going to be loving it because of the Liandry's over Morello's haha type situation that has been going on. Liandry's is actually a really strong item on Gangplank as well because his ultimate does the physical damage. It also gives him a nice little tick damage when he pops that down, the percentage HP on top of the ultimate AoE. Be interested to see if Etherno goes for that Liandry's in this particular game.
And I think it's quite likely that he will, especially because the ultimate is going to be so much of the pressure that he applies onto DS. Unless he really can just afford to walk up, it's going to be tough to maneuver his way around Ornn and Nunu in these team fights. And so, unless they can take down the front line, throughout the entire fight, his ultimate is really what's going to be doing the work until they can sort of cross that bridge.
Yeah, exactly. And with the tanks built up here, the Nunu and the Ornn selected for Demon Slayers, I do expect this Ashe to go for the Blade of the Ruin King. I expect her to try and cut through this full HP, two very heavy HP tanks that they've picked up for themselves, and the Ashe needing to get those two, maybe even three items with the Infinity Edge, hopefully coming through third for her before the damage is really there on the side of the Ashe. So looking at Luna, they really want to reach three items before that they're doing considerable amounts of damage. We talked about the Liandry's, talk about the fully completed Ash build to come through. Echo into Syndra is maybe an area of the map where they can find some earlier presence, especially with Jarvan as well. Jarvan, a super strong early game jungler in himself. So mid jungle 2 versus 2 is probably the avenue that I'm looking to Luna to get their early advantages, get the early game rolling. and maybe transition their advantages that they can get from there around the map and get them into and get the rest of the members into a strong position to take team fights later on.
And yeah, and I think it's important to touch on as well that Lunar really do, I feel like personally, have to get in a nice position early on because Gangplank is really their late game insurance here. Echo, of course, going to do quite a bit, and Ashe as well. But once you start hitting later items, unless somebody like the Echo or the Ashe are already ahead, are just going to start falling behind people like Caitlyn and Syndra, especially when they have to chew through a tank line and Demon Slayers do not so much. We really have the Jarvan as the outstanding tank. And then other than that, it's follow-up engage from Echo and Gangplank. They're not that dedicated frontline that we see being picked up in Ornn and Nunu.
Yeah, exactly. I really like the point that you raise with the tank shredding that will be that needs to happen from Luna versus the sort of really not too beefy front line. Yes, I expect the Jarvan to go for the Cinderhulk because the rest of Luna don't have a tank front line, but
Mm.
Jarvan isn't going to do too much in terms. He's not the same level of tanky as a Nunu or as a Ornn potentially. So when the team fights come through, if they haven't got the items on the carries, I feel like early on at least, Caitlyn and Karma and Syndra as well are going to be able to cut through that front line a little bit easier, give them more access to the back line as well.
Yeah, certainly the story of this game is going to be if we can find the access into the back line and not have to play that front to back game, unless we just see something ridiculous, like assuming standard play and not Bard goes 8-0 or something. It is going to be about finding those angles and being a little bit tricky on the side of OGL. Hopefully, playing that vision game right, as we mentioned, is going to be a huge part of their win condition. We're going to find out though. There's a lot that could go either way in this game. It is still quite early on in the Risen series, and so we are going to jump into this game right after a short break. We will be right back. Hello and welcome back to Demon Slayers versus Omega Gaming Lunar. We are going to have Omega Gaming Lunar coming at us from the top side of the map, the red side, as we see them fanning out as five, mirrored on the bottom side by Demon Slayers, who will be joining us from the blue side.
Yeah, exactly. And this interesting game number one coming up here. Luna with the, I'll say, scaling composition a little bit more so than Demon Slayers here. I feel like Ash does a little bit better in terms of the late game power, and also Echo in a split push in the side lane. Versus this Syndra, I feel like will be really difficult for Efron to handle as we get later and later. And Inferno on this gangplank, the scaling for him is immeasurable. GP, as we know, as a champion, scales incredibly well into the late game. But all that said and done, this level one, nothing particularly happening. Both teams just doing a standard 5-point split here. Rabble, interestingly, currently sat down bot side, and I actually want to just keep a track of if he's actually put down any shrines around the map, because he's actually just put them, as you can see with the wonderful observations, 2 down on the bot side of the map, not helping out his other lanes at all. So giving the, sometimes you'll see Bard roam around to the top side, roam up to the mid lane as well. Put a couple Caretaker Shrines down and just help out the solo laners a little bit. Not going to happen this game. Going to keep them all for himself and humanity down here, as we see both junglers start on the bot side.
Yeah, it will provide them a nice little, extra buffer of health advantage that will be made up for by the mana regen that he has in between. But speaking of that sort of early game, advantage that you can give to your laners, I noticed that the minion dematerializers were picked up by Echo, and having not played a lot of mid lane into Echo, I'm not certain how common that is, but it looks like... Oh, okay. That bot lane, that top lane's making me sweat as I'm trying to ask a question as to whether the minion dematerializers are standard or whether that's to try and keep up against the Syndra.
I'm not sure that I'd call it standard. The thing with Dematerializer is, as we see level 2's hit bot lane.
Yeah, level 2's means that there's a fight, and Jojo Loon goes straight onto Scared Rabble. Is going to have to flash away now, though. Followed up, though, means that he goes down as First Blood is picked up by Humanity. Nice knowing the limits on Scarred Rabble there means that Hoshumi could follow. Is going to be forced to flash out of the Cosmic Binding from the Bard there. And very nice pacing from them means that they walk away with an advantage.
Yeah, Luna picking up the 2v2 kill versus Caitlyn Karma. Very atypical. Typically, we see these two champions thrive down in the bot lane in an isolated setup, but here they overextend. They reach level 2, think that they've got the advantage, and then the second they go for an engage, Rabble and Humanity also ding level 2. Humanity with a wonderful flash, knowing the limits, gets himself the kill, gets the flash as well out of Hoshiumi here as well.
Yeah, and that'll mean that with the lead that they have, they can look to snowball this. Speaking of snowballs, though, once hitting the top lane, OGN is here to back up his top laner, and Zol, after seeing that, will be able to back off. Wasn't enraged for the flag and drag just yet, but Echo is here unbeknownst to him, and they might look to take away some of the jungle if it weren't already taken.
Yeah, really good cognizant play from OGN there to pick himself, or to be in the right place at the right time, protect his top laner. Knows that Nunu can gank through the lane and was ready in the bush in the river just to protect him, allowed that full crash to come out, and now the wave is reset to a neutral spot, so both top laners going to respect one another, handshake that they're not going to TP here, which means that when we reach that level 6 mark, there's potential for double TPs to come down from these top laners. Inferno does have the Cannon Barrage, notably, so that he can impact the map without having to teleport, but Slug also has the capability to TP as well.
Yeah, and because of the ability for them to teleport, I think that Ornn is given a small advantage. Obviously, on Gangplank, you want the ability to get back to your lane and such, but Gangplank teleport's not known for their super effectiveness here. Is going to give him just more lane presence and perhaps harass potential, as he has picked up a cull for himself now, and will be able to get those favorable back timings against the Ornn. Whereas Ornn certainly a teleport advantage means a lot more to his team.
Yeah, and no surprise that the GP has the run of the lane versus an Ornn, as Inferno's going in.
Yeah, run of the lane is no small statement, as he takes Slug CS down to very, very little health there. Almost taking him off the map, and it looks like very comfortable on this gangplank is Inferno.
Yeah, this is definitely a comfort pick, as you mentioned. One of his top 2 played in the solo queues with the little reviews that we can do, we know that Eterno is a very confident GP player, and already I'm sort of thinking about game 2 and whether or not they let GP come through for game number 2, because yes, it hasn't had an amazing impact yet, but just the laning presence that he's got versus Slug here, I think the ban coming through for game number 2 might be warranted just in case here.
Yeah, and it isn't even a matter of whether you win this game or not. Even if we see Demon Slayers walk away with the win this game, you can still consider banning that gangplank. Looks like Nunu's looking for something in the mid lane. No level 6 hit by the Echo yet means that he doesn't have the Chrono Break available, but is under his tower, so they can't channel the Snowball quite that far.
Yeah, nice play from Efron. Abuses the fact that he reached level 6 off of the wave, whilst Gosha still had some minions to die before he reached level 6. Has now reached it, and with the Syndra hadn't been able to recall yet, so she was just sat on the Doran's ring. That Doran's ring all in isn't too punishing really, especially when Gosha had managed to pick himself up a free recall already. And whilst we've got the time, I'll talk to you a little bit about the dematerializer here that you'd alluded to. I think that
Hmm.
the main reason that we see the dematerializer picked up is because if Echo's having a slightly rough laning experience, then it can be really difficult for Echo to clear the backline with the Time Winder. And as you can see, I think the buff that came to dematerializer is when you hit one of the minions. Oh, we see a gank though. I'll hold it.
Yeah, Gosha maybe forced to ult a little bit early here. Snowball will whiff, but it means that now that they know where Nunu is, they can finish taking that dragon for the side of Omega Gaming Lunar and net themselves a nice little scaling advantage here.
Yeah, I guess they get themselves the first Drake of the game, and as we alluded to earlier, that the Lunar did scale incredibly well here. The Cloud Drake means that we're going to get the early Cloud Drake rather means that we're going to get a nice soul coming through, no matter what the soul is. With the Infernal Drake spawning up, it's going to be Ocean or Mountain, so either of those is going to be really impactful, going to be really helpful if Lunar are able to get it. And we talked about the mid lane matchup being favourable for Gosha here. He's established himself a 20-ish CS lead. Yes, the blue buff giving a little bit too much leeway there, but Echo in the mid lane doing incredibly well versus this Syndra. Hasn't netted himself a kill, but has absorbed a couple of ganks from Zol. Has also managed to keep himself quite far ahead in the CS. Similarly on the top side as well, we see a similar story really.
Yeah, the top side is absolutely a show of dominance, and I feel like mid lane it hasn't been quite that much Syndra getting low, but maybe just a lot of respect shown to Gosha on this Echo. Having played the matchup, if you are a Syndra quite a bit, you can start to be wary of somebody like the Echo and what he can do when he does get ahead. And so I think just playing a little bit respectfully of that means that we are going to see the Syndra start to fall behind, as it looks like Slug CS is opting into a trade, but there's a rather large minion wave there for Ethero, and we may just see a Rift Herald take as there's complete jungle dominance on the top side with mid lane and top lane both winning.
Yeah, when they've got this much priority, I really wouldn't be surprised to see Luna try and just take this Herald. Sometimes you'll see a team rotate their bot lane up to the top side of the map, but I feel like, I know that's exactly what DS are doing here. Oh, Caitlyn's walking back down, so I guess never mind. But when you've got such strong solo laners in this particular situation, you probably don't need to. As we see, Slug CS just goes in a little bit, gives Etherno a little bit of a tab. He's built the ninja tabbies now, the broken item, broken boot. But they get themselves. He gets the tabbies, and he's feeling a little bit better in these trades right now. I don't think Inferno's back for a long time. Last time he based, he picked himself up some more sustain items. The mana crystal, health crystal as well, just gives him a little bit more resources in the lane. Not too much combat power in those items themselves.
Yeah, has halved his cull countdown now. A nice pickup on the barrel will mean that his trading power is denied for just a second. But in that roam that we saw up to the mid lane from the Caitlyn Karma, it seemed like it was very much to just deny a little bit of the pressure from that Echo that was keeping Syndra playing so far back. We see him now having picked up a 30 CS lead for himself, and it lost them what was a really even lane, as it looks like we're going to see an arrow land. Cosmic Binding doesn't end up following up on that, and the Ignite is dropped, but it looks like we should be just having the bot lane get away, but a nice Cosmic Binding will end up finding the Karma. Is going to be slowed down by the auto, and a final auto attack from the Bard will secure that one, as there are 2 kills on the map for Omega Gaming Lunar, and they are both on the bot side.
Yeah, in this isolated lane, and it's the lane that's probably going the best, unfortunately, for Demon Slayers here. They've got themselves, or they had at the point, got themselves a sort of even CS discrepancy. The kill going to Lunar early on wasn't great, but at the end of the day, they were even in CS, even in XP, and that kill is going to dictate so much of this lane because look at the wave that they're going to miss under the turret. That's a big one that all the XP is going to be wasted for. All the gold is going to go amiss too. Humanity now, he's probably going to base, get himself, let's have a look. He's got himself 2,800 gold in the bank, 2,900 now. He's going to pick himself up the full Blade of the Ruin King, and Caitlyn players everywhere will know that once Caitlyn is behind, it's incredibly difficult for Caitlyn to get back into the game.
Yeah, she is one of those lane bullies, and with a little bit of sin to her name, as once you do, like you said, fall behind, it is going to be a battle uphill, as she doesn't provide that same amount of utility through the mid game. When Ashe will be doing quite well with her ability to enable her team via things like her ultimate and even the crits that she's going to be putting down later.
Yeah, exactly. The scaling up, ramping up potential on the Caitlyn going to take quite a while now, and OGN there did just sniff at the top side, had a look, see if he could go for anything, but with this Infernal Drake spawning in 20 seconds, not going to opt for it. Looks like Demon Slayers have got themselves some nice priority around the bot side of the map right now. Set themselves
Yeah, no,
up with the crab.
Yeah, I wonder if we see a fight for this. Rift Herald is available and is going to be channeled in the mid lane. And this mid priority could translate into a really nice Infernal Dragon. Nuna's here though, and it looks like we're looking for a fight. Zol's going to be forced to back off here, leaving the mid lane tower alive and on its last legs. And teleport channel from Slug CS, I think signals that we want to fight around this dragon. Otherwise, maybe not super useful. So
Yeah,
we're gonna have
definitely
to see.
does. I think. Oh, Humanity might just get away there. It's going to take a bit of poke, but fighting in the river
Yeah.
here.
Importantly, isn't there for this fight as Nunu goes incredibly low, but the shield from his ultimate will save him, and he will end up picking up a kill onto the Jarvan. But Ornn is going to die immediately after he is picked up. Gosha now on the chase there is going to be looking for the last kill onto Efron, but will not find him as he runs under the tower. And Infernal Dragon will belong well in the hands of Omega Gaming Lunar.
Yeah, you would think that, but they haven't yet started it up. OGN had to reset, so did Rabble, so 2 kills going the way of Lunar. Currently, the Drake hasn't fallen. They'd be able to see it on the crab that they did secure. Looks like the main objective that they might get is Gosha hitting this turret, but with the 5 plates being taken, the phase dive is enough to secure it. That's 610 gold just went into this Echo's bag. That's 2 kills worth of gold right there, just for pressing E on the turret. That Rift Herald earlier on from OGN doing wonders, really. And now we see Lunar posturing around the Drake here. Rabble got a control ward down in the pit. OGN there as well. Likely going to be able to pick that up without too much congestion. I think Demon Slayers have sort of realised their faults, realised that at the minute we're not in a position to contest, and they don't particularly need to. Yes, Nunu can go in and maybe try and steal with a Smite Consume combo, but other than that, not too much going to happen there. Just a quick take, and we do see the Mountain Rift rise.
Yeah, I would have been surprised, certainly, if we saw the dragon after that fight go over to anyone but Lunar, as the fact that they had won that fight had left Ornn without teleport and without ultimate, so wasn't going to be able to continue fighting, was going to continue hemorrhaging in that top side, where the 20 CS lead is still in existence, but now Trinity Force picked up for the Gangplank will mean he continues to be a sore spot on the side of Demon Slayers.
Yeah, now he's got that Trinity Force. That means that he clears the backline with his Q, or with his barrel Q rather. That means that it's making it incredibly easy for him to push these waves, keep the Ornn underneath his turret.
Cheryl is going to find the Karma now. Parallel Convergence is ready as the slow comes in, and he will be stunned up and taken down by Gosha. Very nicely coordinated play there from the side of Omega Gaming Lunar. Fishing with that Ash Arrow, they find someone.
Humanity, the American sniper coming up right here. What a wonderful, what a wonderful snipe from mid lane all the way down. It's a really awkward angle to get, but Slug in the top side.
Looks like it could be good news stories everywhere as Athero is looking to finish this one off, has the ultimate available, and will pick him up and walk away. Humanity now being able to involve himself in more mid-game fights as OGN has started one, and they are here to finish it. Looks like he will flag and drag, flash forward to stop Zol from getting away, and Humanity will pick up his second kill of the game. A nice, wow, I think in total we ended up seeing
Four?
four for nothing.
Yeah, 4 for nothing, and that was off the back of a pick from Humanity as well, so a delayed ace really on the map. Humanity's going in though.
Yeah, almost ends up picking up Jojo Loon there, but will end up having to walk away as the flash is burned into Humanity, and he's able to grab that one as easy as you like, just burning his heal in response.
So, essentially, after the Drake goes down, that's 6 unanswered kills going the way of Lunar. Not to mention the bot lane turret that they take, not to mention the top lane turret that they take as well. This game is going incredibly well for Lunar, snowballing out of control for Demon Slayers here, and all of these champions, all of these carries that Lunar have drafted, they're all online a lot earlier than Demon Slayers would have wanted them to be.
Yeah, and it is exactly what we talked about, where we wanted to see things like the Echo and the Ashe get ahead, because they don't provide that same sort of front line with their team. The burden of execution is on them, and so far they have been executing in this early game. They have complete run of the map now, and where the game goes next is up to them. They can continue looking for picks before these objectives spawn, but the expectation is that they continue to pick up those objectives and pull Demon Slayers around the map.
Yeah, exactly. What I want to see is some nice clean play, but
Jojo Loon gets caught and gets hit by the arrow. The nice stun from the Cosmic Binding should spell his demise as he has no flash after burning it, chasing after Humanity.
yeah, and that's just a wonderful setup from this bot lane here. Rabble and Humanity combining nicely. Humanity with the well-timed Enchanted Crystal Arrow out of the Tempered Fate to get the kill. Zol here, he's just going to walk away.
He actually finds the stun, and that should be the end of his life as he gets knocked up there. And the ultimate from the Jarvan does lock down Hashimi, but he manages to get out of it with the net, and the jungle now belongs to Omega Gaming Lunar.
Yeah, they are just running around the map right now, killing whoever they see, whoever they want to kill. They're taking the name of. And right now, what I want to see from Lunar is a clean, crisp round out of this game. I want to see them go for all of the objectives and round out this game with hopefully not losing any more members, right? You know, losing people in a team fight is different, but a pick is not what we want, and Rabble,
Little bit cocky over there, does jump straight into Karma Syndra, but gets away with it. And speaking to the mental game of Omega Gaming Lunar, they're certainly feeling confident right now, as wards will be cleared out, but Rift Herald is being taken on the top side, and they can't even see what's happening up there.
yeah, exactly. With the Rift Herald going down as well, that's likely going to be in the hands of Eterno. It is. I don't think this is going to amount to anything. Gosha is going to have the phase dive to maybe get away.
Does end up trying to proto belt his way out, does have the ultimate available as well, but shouldn't be able to turn a 3v1 just yet. Thankfully though, Echo is quite slippery and has slowed everyone up. Gangplank ultimate will follow up, and now there's actually quite a few people low. Scarred Rabble jumps in, does end up finding the stun into the Nunu, and will be finished off by Gosha. In the meantime though, Athero has decided that that kill participation wasn't quite enough and will be chasing Slug CS under the tower. Eats the orange to stay healthy here, but Slug CS cannot stay around as he is quite low. And so much being done from Omega across the map.
I'm sorry, I just noticed. Ornn built a Abyssal Mask first item versus Gangplank. You know, we wonder why these trades are going. Or I'm not wondering why, you know, Guthurno is really strong on the GP, but that isn't going to help you versus this Gangplank. He's got Ninja Tabbies, yes, but then he's just decided to stop there and go for Abyssal Mask, and that is, unfortunately, my friend, not an armor item. You're against Gangplank, you're against Ashe, and you're against Jarvan. That is not the one. Unfortunately, yes, it can be upgraded, but I disagree. Rabble though could be caught.
Oh, will almost get away. He gets taken down by the burn there. Jojo Loon is traded, however, and the 1-for-1 is going to be technically in the favor of Demon Slayers, but I feel like Bard overextending a little bit there shouldn't mean too much in the grand scheme of things, as now Humanity has shown up bot side and stunned the Syndra, who could look to be dunked here. Does get the ultimate channeled from the Jarvan, but will be able to walk out of there for now, and Gosha has ultimate available. Could look for something, but humanity is slowing people down and getting them out as nobody wants to fight into the Echo Jarvan with the Ashe but sitting behind them to deal that damage.
Yeah, this Ash is incredibly strong. You know, 2-item Ash isn't typically incredibly strong, but when 2-item Ash is is the only carry who's got 2 items and is incredibly far ahead of the curve, then you bet you that she's going to be dealing some damage. 603 right now, 170 CS nearly rounding out with these 2 completed items coming through. She's going to be absolutely shredding through these tanks. And again, to mention, Slug CS went for the Abyssal, didn't go for the Sunfire Cape, so we saw it in that little skirmish down there that he was getting absolutely melted by the Rangers' focus from humanity. Doesn't have the resists to stand up in any way to this Ashe or to the GP.
Yeah, and hasn't been put in the side lane against the Echo either, as we've been opting to put Syndra and even sometimes Nunu Caitlyn into the side lane against that particular champion. So a little bit of a mix-up in lane assignment, perhaps, from Demon Slayers could be looked to be addressed in further, in later stages of the game, or even potentially next game, as we certainly will be seeing them adapting, hopefully, from game one. Even if they manage to come away with the victory, this is not something that we'd be expecting at this point, because of the position that Omega Gaming Lunar found themselves in, and we don't, you're going to want to adapt to that regardless.
Yeah, it's very unexpected at this point for Demon Slayers to come back and win this game. I feel like, as we've talked about it endlessly so far, that the scaling advantage is on Lunar's side, and when a scaling team gets ahead, it feels like the game is all but doomed. Now, Lunar have one of 2 options for how they want to close out this game. They can either go for a Baron now at 21-22 minutes, force them in, or fight.
Or they can just absolutely decimate Jojo, Luna, and Syndra, both falling instantly there, as the party Cannon Barrage will end up denying any further engage. Gosha, though, wants to continue fighting, though, and the rest of his team says, all right, well, we're in, and we see the flag and drag in from the Jarvan there. Does end up buying space for his backline to take down the Nunu, and Slug CS is short to follow. That is the ace coming through, as we talked about the option to just end the lives of the enemy team. Looks like they will choose that one, and might actually choose to end the game potentially, as they have the inhibitor down. Karma is available, but they could look for this one, as Flash from Ethero, I think, is a little bit of a party here. Scarred Rabble is taking down one Nexus turret, and it looks like they'll leave them standing on their last legs and back off for a reset and potentially the Baron.
Yeah, they weren't able to fully commit to that to that Nexus turret. I think if they'd have maybe not flashed on the GP early on, that they could have probably gotten that, but it looks like they're actually just going to turn straight for the Baron here. And this might be a little bit over-aggressive. It depends how Demon Slayers want to play it, because I think there's definitely a world where they can walk in and contest this, but they have to go together. And with Syndra going bot, kind of indicates that Luna get this for free. Does have teleport on the Syndra. We'll have to see how this goes.
Nunu is looking to contest this. Will be taken down, though, almost instantly, as he does not have any relevant tank stats to speak of in this match. With all the carries being so far ahead, 8-0 on the Echo, 7-0 on the Ashe, and 4-0 on the Gangplank, there is no way that as a 2-6 Nunu, you're going to be able to get anywhere near that pit.
No, definitely not with the linear pathing that he took. Maybe he could take some eccentric pathing around the backside of the pit and flash in that way, but even then he would have been too slow to get round, so it was, all of his options were fairly cut off. And I was talking about the options of how Luna close out this game. I will level with you, Diachpa. Just win wasn't what I was expecting. But it's, it's certainly what they went for with that team fight in the mid lane. They've gone back to, good macro play here, and I'm not saying by any means that taking that fight was bad. It just wasn't what I was expecting. They picked themselves up the Mountain Soul. They've picked themselves up the Baron now. Now look to see them go into the side lanes. Put 4 people in one lane. Eterno or Gosha, either will do on the top side of the map. It looks like it's their option. And just abuse the power that you've got in mid lane with the super minions going down. Crash those waves together, because you are stronger in a 1 versus 1 or 4 versus 4. However it goes, you have an insane gold lead right now. 16,500 gold. You could take out 2 of these carries and you'd still be stronger on Luna.
Yeah, it looks like we did see a fish for an engage there from the Nunu, but it was not meant to be, as Gosha's diving for it. Onto Shumi is just going to be exploded there on the 3rd proc of the passive And the Ash is sitting here hitting this Ornn with that Blade of the Ruined King that we talked about is going to spell the end of his life. A triple kill goes over to Gosha, and that is going to spell a very quick end to the game, not even bothering with the bottom inhibitor or the top, as the Baron is going to be enough. OGN will not even lose his life to the turret here, and Jojo Loon may just be the sacrificial lamb at the end here, is going to finish the game off with that Nexus exploding in a very clean game we saw from Omega Gaming Lunar.
Yeah, I mean that was an absolute slaughter. I don't think anybody will mind me saying that game was heavily one-sided. Luna came in, they did incredibly well right there. Game number one, they pulled out a lot of comfort picks that we mentioned in the draft and really took it to Demon Slayers here. Game number one going their way quite favourably. Game number two, we'll have to see some adaptations, and I expect to see once again. Hopefully, Gangplank Ban comes the four or comes through, so that Eterno doesn't get his hands on that. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see Echo Band as well.
Yeah, and at the point that you have something like the Caitlyn Karma, you feel like you're going to have a really nice and consistent bot lane. And that's just not what we ended up seeing from Demon Slayers. And so I'd like to see them maybe be able to give a little bit more attention to that lane, because it is something that should have been and could have been strong, but instead just, losing those advantages on their own can't be something that we're watching happen. So maybe investing more time into that lane so that you aren't just hemorrhaging through it would be something that I'd be looking to see.
Yeah, definitely. I've just taken a look at the damage charts, and it's so demoralizing to look at. Look, the top damage dealer was the Ornn in that game. for for Demon Slayers. That's not what you want, especially when you've got Caitlyn Syndra on your side. That was, whew. Sorry,
No,
you made some really nice points. I just completely ignored you and told you that the damage was fun to look at. We are
no, no,
going
no, you're
to.
good.
Oh, that was great. With that
And
being said and done, though, ladies and gentlemen, do you have anything to say, Diachpa, before you throw it away?
I was just gonna say that, yeah, like, what while those damage charts may not be what you want, we'll see if they can get their hands on something they do want in that win coming in game two. It's all up to how they draft, and more importantly, as we saw during that game, how they play. But we'll have to find out right after the short break you alluded to.